My fiance's twin sister repeatedly interfered with our wedding arrangements, and when I attempted to exclude her, he took her side. Then I discovered he secretly learned our baby's gender just to share it with her, so I canceled the wedding. My fiancé, Jake, 27, M and I, 26F, have been in a relationship for nearly 3 years. He proposed about 6 months ago, and soon after, we learned I was expecting. We plan to wed in the spring of next year. Jake has a twin sister, 27F, whom we'll call Lily. We shared our engagement and pregnancy news simultaneously via a sweet social media post, featuring engagement photos and an ultrasound image, announcing that the Johnson family would soon grow by 2. Lily quickly commented that we'd need to postpone the wedding until next year because she prefers autumn hues, and as my maid of honor, she'd have input on bridesmaid dress colors. I stared at my phone, baffled by her assumption. I showed Jake the comment and asked why she thought she'd be my maid of honor. He was clueless. I texted Lily to clarify. The conversation went like this. Me: "Hey Lily, thanks for your enthusiasm about our announcement. We haven't started planning the wedding details yet, and I haven't chosen my bridesmaids or maid of honor. We'll keep you posted once we have more details." Lily: "No need to pick a maid of honor. I've got that role covered." Me: "I'm confused. I haven't asked you to be my maid of honor." Lily: "You don't need to ask. That's why I'm such a great sister." Me: "I'm sorry, but you're not my maid of honor." Lily: "We'll see about that." I shared these messages with Jake, who promised to handle it. I don't know the details of their talk, but Lily stopped mentioning the maid of honor role. Instead, she began causing trouble in other ways. Jake and I have secured the venues, catering, flowers, decorations, and a DJ. A few months ago, I invited my mom, Jake's mom, and my sister, Emma, who I chose as my maid of honor, to go dress shopping. Lily learned about it from her mother and invited herself along. We began by looking for a dress for Emma. I wanted my bridesmaids in a soft pastel yellow, with Emma's dress in a richer gold shade. Lily kept complaining that yellow was an awful choice, and suggested pink or blue instead. She even pulled several pink and blue dresses to try on herself. I tried to ignore her while her mom humored her odd suggestions. Emma and my mom repeatedly pointed out that it's my wedding, and if Lily wasn't going to be helpful, she should leave. Sadly, she stayed, and I was too polite to ask her to leave in front of my mother-in-law, with whom I already have a tense relationship. Our mothers shopped for their dresses with minimal interference from Lily, but when I started trying on gowns, she had plenty to say. She commented that certain styles wouldn't flatter my post-pregnancy figure, and even suggested I avoid white since I'm clearly not pure. I snapped back that she wasn't pure when she got married either, yet she wore a lovely white dress to her courthouse wedding. She muttered that it wasn't the same, but I was already heading back to the dressing room. I don't know what happened while I was gone, but when I returned, Lily and her mom had left, and Emma had a satisfied grin. I avoided discussing wedding details with Lily whenever possible, but I overheard Jake sharing our plans with her. He mentioned our buffet-style meal, chosen to accommodate various dietary needs in our families at a lower cost, saving thousands of dollars. Lily told him he deserved a partner who wouldn't skimp on his wedding, despite the buffet being his idea. He shared that he picked the reception venue while I chose the ceremony venue, a place meaningful to me because it's where my late father married my mom. Since he can't walk me down the aisle, I wanted to feel his presence there. Lily called my choice outdated and said guests would mock us. When Jake mentioned wanting a DJ, she sneered that I lacked the sophistication for a live band. Each time she made such remarks, Jake clarified that these were his ideas but didn't challenge her disrespectful comments about me, which stung. I told him how hurt OD during planning, and now she's escalated things by trying to cancel my venue and alter our catering. I'm done giving her chances. AITA for refusing to let her prove herself before uninviting her completely, or is Jake right that she deserves another opportunity? Update: thank you all for reading my original post and offering your perspectives and advice. Writing this out helped me process my emotions, and hearing from unbiased strangers that I'm not overreacting or just hormonal was incredibly reassuring. I read every comment, and your kind words meant the world to me. Many of you asked for an update, but I wanted to wait until after speaking with Jake. I stayed at Emma's last night and mostly ignored Jake's calls and texts. Lily sent me a text calling me irrational and blaming my hormones. I blocked her, but later unblocked her and silenced her notifications, as someone suggested, in case her behavior escalates and I need evidence for a potential custody case. I'm glad I did, but more on that later. I responded to Jake once last night, letting him know I was safe at Emma's and would return today after work to discuss everything. I reiterated how hurt I felt by his lack of support and that I was considering canceling the wedding entirely. He asked if that's what I meant, and I confirmed it was. His response: "Don't let your emotions make you act irrationally. We'll talk tomorrow." Guess where he got that line? That nearly solidified my decision. I didn't reply even when he sent a "Good night, I love you" text. Instead, I sent him a link to my post and told him to read it before our talk. Someone suggested he might share it with Lily. If she saw it, she hasn't mentioned it, and any texts she sent were while I had her blocked. This morning, I called out of work and had breakfast with Emma. She gave me the contact information for a family lawyer her friend used in a custody case. I spoke with the lawyer's assistant, explained my situation, and secured an initial consultation slot after lunch. I laid out why I'm leaving Jake and my fears about Lily's influence over him and our baby. I don't trust him to prioritize our child's best interests, so I want to pursue sole custody and supervised visitation, ideally with a restriction preventing Lily from contacting my child. The lawyer said my concerns are valid, but convincing a judge to include a contact restriction based on family drama alone could be challenging. She advised documenting all of Lily's actions, past and future, to present in court if needed. She gave me a list of considerations, like whether I want Jake to have any custody or just visitation, how to handle decisions about medical care or education, and whether to limit communication to text only. These are things I never imagined I'd need to decide alone. We were supposed to do this together. She suggested taking a few days to organize my thoughts and scheduled an in-person meeting for Friday to review everything. If anyone has advice on what to include in custody papers, I'm all ears. After the call, I read more comments and took a much-needed nap. When I woke, Jake had texted asking what time I'd be home so he could prepare dinner. I told him I'd arrive around 5 but would leave immediately if Lily was there. I asked if he'd read the post I sent. He replied, "Yes, but I'd rather talk to you than read you criticize me and my sister online with strangers. Don't worry, I told Lily she's not welcome." This infuriated me. Clearly, he either didn't read it or still doesn't grasp how wrong they both are. I lost all desire to try to work things out. I'm done. I texted him not to bother with dinner, that I'd only be picking up more of my things and dropping off my lawyer's contact info, and that we had nothing left to discuss. He asked what I meant by lawyer and said he'd been waiting to talk. I simply said, "Fine." Emma wished me luck before I left and assured me I could return after our conversation. I told her I'd definitely be back and thanked her for her support. At home, Jake had dinner ready as promised. I ignored him and went straight to our room to pack more clothes and toiletries. He asked if I really wasn't going to talk, but I stayed silent, too angry to speak calmly. Just seeing him reignited my frustration. Eventually, he gave up and went to eat in the dining room. Once I finished packing, I sat with him at the table, but didn't touch the food. I started a voice memo on my phone and said, "Go ahead." He looked confused, so I clarified that he wanted to talk, so he should start. He stumbled but began with an apology, claiming he didn't realize how upset I was about Lily's behavior. I asked if he recalled how devastated I was after dress shopping because of her comments about my choices and body, or our talk about her assuming she was my maid of honor, or our discussion days ago about her crossing a line by canceling my venue. Each time he said he remembered but tried to add a but to argue. I cut him off with the next example, saying he should have known I was beyond fed up with her nonsense. I said I was hurt and furious that I wanted her uninvited, yet he wanted to give her another chance. To do what? Cancel our DJ and book a band? Change my dress color or show up in white? He claimed she'd never do that. I reminded him he said she'd never cancel my venue, yet she admitted it in front of us. I told him I don't trust his judgment about her, and that he's as delusional as she is if he thinks she'll change. I asked why he shared so many wedding details with her and why her opinion mattered. He said since Lily didn't have a proper wedding, she was overly excited about ours. I said she's entitled to be excited, but has no right to insult or alter our choices. She'll have plenty of chances for her own wedding if she stops meddling in ours and finds someone to marry. Poor soul, whoever that is. Then I asked, what's next? Will she name our baby since she lost hers? The look on his face made my stomach drop. He said, actually, Lily has some name ideas for our daughter. Daughter? We'd agreed to be surprised about the baby's gender and had chosen our top 3 names for each gender, keeping them private until birth. I asked if he said daughter, and he froze, caught off guard. He backtracked, but I pressed, asking outright if he knew our baby's gender. He hesitated, but admitted he'd called my OB's office, using the information release form I'd signed at my first visit, claiming we'd changed our minds and he wanted to plan a reveal for me. I felt sick and betrayed. I demanded to know what else he'd done behind my back. Did he encourage Lily to pose as our wedding planner or cancel my venue? He denied it, saying she acted alone, but I could tell he was lying. He'd likely put her up to it all. At that point, I didn't care why he did it. It was clear our decisions would never truly be ours. He'd always do what he wanted, with Lily's support. I asked what he'd tell Lily if she said her partner wasn't supporting her, went behind her back about their baby's gender, or let their sibling bully her relentlessly. He had no answer, and I didn't want to hear one. I told him that, as his intended wife and the mother of his child, I and our baby should be his priority, not his twin sister. Learning our baby's gender behind my back was unforgivable. Nothing he could say or do would fix this. I told him I'm no longer marrying him. He could cancel the vendors if he wanted, or, I added sarcastically, use them to marry Lily, since she's clearly his priority. He tried to apologize and explain, but I cut him off each time, saying I'd heard enough and my decision was final. If he wants any chance of rebuilding a relationship with me and our baby, he needs serious therapy to address his enmeshment with Lily. No woman would marry him while he's this entangled with her. I said all future contact would be through my lawyer, and I want nothing to do with his family. If I get my way, they'll have no contact with my daughter. I won't let him expose her to this treatment. I left my lawyer's name and number on the table and walked out. He didn't follow. Do I need to file a complaint with my OB's office? Did the release form I signed give them blanket permission to share all information with him, or was this a violation? I'm glad I recorded our conversation with him admitting everything. I'm not sure if it'll help my custody case, but I sent it to my lawyer with a note to discuss on Friday. I'm back at Emma's now. She was at work when I returned, but I asked her to wake me when she gets home. I need my sister. I also called my mom and shared everything. She cried with me and asked if I needed anything. I asked if she'd go with Emma to get the rest of my things from the house, as I can't face Jake right now. Just thinking of him makes me nauseous. She agreed willingly. Lily texted me again, likely after Jake spoke with her. It was a long, vicious message I won't repeat fully here. I can share a screenshot if anyone's curious and I figure out how to attach it. In summary, she called me a controlling, delusional freak who won't let Jake make his own choices, insulted my venue again, and wished my baby would be stillborn because I don't deserve motherhood. Oddly, her message didn't hurt. It made me laugh. I screenshotted it and sent it to my lawyer. The wedding is off. Tomorrow, I'll call the vendors to see about recovering deposits. If not, I'll tell them to contact Jake and Lily to see if they want to keep the plans. Let them have their party. I'm canceling my venue regardless of refunds. Neither of them will set foot in that meaningful place if I can help it. I didn't realize how much this was weighing me down until now. I feel lighter, though a new burden is settling in. Writing this out has been incredibly helpful for processing my emotions and next steps. I'm not sure if I'll keep posting formal updates, but for those interested, I might use this profile as a journal as things unfold. Thank you all again for your advice and for showing me I'm not crazy.